Namaste. Namaste. We'll give it a few minutes, a few moments. And it's kind of nice to wait for one another. It really does help us with the practice of patience, We're always in such a rush, our culture is always rushing, Ready, set, go. Start now, right? Move fast now, right? These few moments where we just really hold space for each other to come on board, to gather, the few moments where we're waiting for us to collect it, I think it can really assist us in the practice of patience, right? Good morning, good afternoon, guys. The practice of patience. There's a chant that comes to mind right now, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And there's kind of many translations. Hey, Elise. There's kind of many translations to one chant, as always, because, it's been handed to us through Vedic scripture, some say 5,000 years, and, everything in its own time is one of the translations of that chant, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, everything in God's time. But it also just straight up can mean patience, right? So as we just take a few moments to respectfully wait for others to join, right? Without judgment, without being on a clock, right? We are cultivating the practice of patience together, right? We can't have everything we want instantaneously, no matter how much that information is feeded to us through commerce and our culture as USers. Check in with yourself. Check in with yourself and see how you're doing. Ask yourself how you're doing the way you'd ask me or a fellow friend in this community of humans. How you doing? And as you come upon some information, right? Once we kind of stop the tape rolling in the mind, once we allow ourselves to be present in this moment, as we come upon some information, let's try not to judge that information and let's try not to cling to that information. So if we're feeling really good right now, we want to try not to cling to it and fear that it will go away, because it will go away, right? And if we're feeling not so good, we want to really attempt not to judge it or push it away, but just live in our truth as humans. Let's tune in. So as we just took a few moments to practice patience, as others came on board, now we get a few moments to practice listening. We're really tuning in to sound, to vibration. Breathe in. Namaste. Nice to see everybody. Got to get used to this new routine, the new schedule of just Monday, Wednesday, Fridays right now. I was kind of like jonesing to be with you guys yesterday. And boy, there's just so much going on for me right now. I'm a Cancerian. I'm really, really tapped into to moon and sun energy, and with solstice and equinox and new moon. It's just like so much downloading of information, if you will. And I almost feel, overwhelmed and like, what to offer today, because there's just so much coming through. So I just have to like pick something, kind of close my eyes and pick something, and pray for the best, if you will, hope for the best. So what I'll pick is, yesterday my neck was out really, really badly. I have severe scoliosis, and my equilibrium was completely out of whack. Every time I bent forward, I would kind of just have this crazy internal wobble. And I started to kind of observe myself go through this very, very wobbly day. And I came to realize that great insecurity comes through when you can't really trust your ground. The ground yesterday for me looked like this, like it was an illusion, right? It was really what was happening in the imbalance of my head based on my neck being off. But this kind of perception and / illusion of the ground not being steady underneath me, therefore causing me great internal distress that showed up, that kind of manifested itself by way of insecurity, a lack of trust. And it really tapped me into what we all might be feeling collectively through this crazy time that we are living through, this time that is clearly going to be making history, this time of great imbalance, stir up, shake down, etc. And how for each and every one of us, kind of symbolically and metaphorically, we all probably feel like we're walking on shaky ground, and that it's very difficult to trust the ground underneath us, that very state of security that we can kind of identify with, a sense of safety. And it also got me thinking that more than likely, we're probably all living in a state of survival right now. So what I mean by that is, here at Shakti means creative energy. I aspire to assist people, to guide people in living a creative life, and living a life that involves interaction with nature, involves thriving and connecting on higher source and greater good, so that you're always kind of tapping into creative energy, to Shakti itself, which is kind of the opposite of being in survival mode, which is, back in the day when the lion was chasing you, when the tiger was chasing you, and you would just have to run. And there'd be great states of insecurity, great states of individuality, like it's only about the self, it's never about the collective, it's how do you stop yourself from being eaten. So there's this state of running away, if you will, instead of being in the creative source. So I've been thinking about, how we are all probably out of whack, right? You don't need me to tell you that, it's probably pretty obvious. And I guess what I'm getting to is that we must be really kind and patient with ourselves during this time of survival. And I think it's very important for us to realize that we are surviving, that we are surviving in a very imbalanced world right now. And we are greatly imbalanced. And it's up to us to see that and to do the work, right? Someone was saying to me yesterday, like, that's been working with me for a while, a student that I've had for a number of years, like, you say it all the time, like it's constant work, like we have to keep paying attention, we have to keep doing the work, And the work isn't like arduous or, taxing or anything. The work shouldn't strain or stress us. It's just constantly checking in constantly paying attention to the fact that as a human being, very sensitive to environment, very tapped into experience, that you might be walking this earth right now in survival mode rather than creative process. But it's natural. And as we pay attention, we learn to cultivate compassion. Like, what can we do right now as we walk this earth that is oh so unsteady, as I shake when I walk on it, right? I think about when I walk out my door each and every day, it's a blessed day, it's a beautiful day. I'm in deep gratitude for birds and flowers and sun, etc. But I also have to go, whoa, pay attention. Especially because when I walk here, I choose to walk without my mask and just really avoid people and kind of, walk around them. In a way, that in itself could be an example of survival mode, right? It's not adrenaline pumping survival mode where the tiger is chasing me, but it's this moment of deep, deep pay attention for your own good. Pay attention for your own good, and of course for the good of others. So it's always about checking in and noticing when we are out of balance and how we can walk with the slightest bit more grace and compassion. Right? How can we handle the fact that we are probably not trusting right now the ground underneath us, right? That's a tough thing to admit. It's like a real vomit, if you will, of humanity right now. We don't trust the ground we're walking on. For many reasons, right? So what to do, right? The work is how to embrace and accept your reality. As I spoke earlier, I had great equilibrium issues yesterday. My neck was very off and the ground appeared to be unstable. And I, walked very kind of precariously, very tentatively, with a lot of insecurity and very little trust yesterday. And it reminded me, it tapped me in to the fact that we all might be walking that way a little bit, right? So today I made sure I did a lot of balance poses, not to teach myself how to balance better, not to get it right, not to prove something to myself, but just to accept that I'm out of balance, as the world is out of balance, and to have a union with that state of imbalance. Because we're always trying to get to the next thing, right? Earlier I was speaking about time. We're always jumping out of the moment and into the next, right? The act of balancing, if you look at it very systematically, you have a scale, and there are marbles in the scale, right? You just have to stop, look, and pay attention for a few moments and notice how many marbles are in one side of your scale and how many marbles are in the other. Your willingness to witness imbalance for yourself and for humanity in this planet right now. But if we're not willing to really step into it and just go, I want all my marbles to be balanced all the time, as if it's some sort of magic thing, right? If we're just jumping out of where we are and into what we want, then we are continuing the survival mode, right? We're running away from our reality, right? We're trying to get safe. But the way to kind of get safe, the way to get centered, the way to acquire moments of balance is to keep looking and go, hey, I'm out of whack, everything's out of whack. How can I take one marble that's over here, pulling it down this way? Can I take that one marble off and move it over to this side? And I'm still going to be out of balance, but I can accept that state of balance, right? It's learning how to accept and making minor adjustments, which comes from bravery, your willingness to really do the work every single day. Pay attention. How are you feeling right now during this great crisis and this state of terrible imbalance? More than likely, you are in survival mode. But you're thinking you want to be in creative mode, so you're in the projects, doing the stuff, trying to forget, right? You got to just get in it. Look at your marbles. They're out of whack. Only you can put them back in balance. So I know that's kind of a lot today. As I mentioned when I first came on, I'm really feeling some great shifts, and there's a lot getting downloaded through me today. But as always, these talks are an attempt for us to locate one's center, for us to be able to sit in the eye of the storm as it just whirls around us and we attempt to sit. That does not come from ignorance. That does not come from being stubborn. That comes from noticing, you have inner turbulence as the world spins around you, as the storm happens around you. You are feeling the turbulence. And we can't rush out of it. We can't look at the turbulence as just the lion chasing us. We have to be willing to have a creative experience with our own state of turbulence, with our own state of equilibrium that is just so off, so out of whack. We have to be willing to realize we're out of whack. So we work with what is there. We accept what is occurring in the moment as best we can before we can move forward. If you feel like you are getting closer to the fact that, getting in touch with the fact that you are in survival mode rather than creative process, amen, it's the first step. Let's see if we can breathe our way into some acceptance of where we are right now. Move your body around. It's a great indication of your reality, right? As you move, you realize where you are. And feel the texture underneath you, whether it's a kitchen chair or the grass, a cushion, or what have you, right? The toilet, wherever you are, right? We don't have to wait to find our reality. We want to try to live and breathe it together with full acceptance. Let's inhale through the nose and out the mouth. Again. One more. Locate your seat. See if you can release your hips in such a way that you sense yourself sinking into your reality as you now know it. And if the ground feels shaky underneath you, precarious, broken, so be it, right? Let's help each other accept where we are. And maybe as that ground feels precarious, broken, and shaky, maybe we don't have to run. Maybe we can sit right in it and begin to develop, begin to cultivate a creative experience in and with it. Let's see if we can open the waist in such a way that it just becomes easier to breathe. A sense of decompression. And then try broadening across the chest and making space for the heart and the lungs. If it's for you, close your eyes. If you're choosing to close your eyes, please do not think of this as an attempt to shut the world out, but rather bring the world in. Bring the world in. And growing more intimate with it and yourself along the way. And try softening the face, releasing through the scalp and the hairline, dropping through the jaw. And then find a focal point, right? So you can go to the heart, or the belly, Or if you're familiar, your third eye, the space just above the bridge of the nose. Try not to think of it as one right way, but just choices, right? Just look at your internal marbles, see how they lay today. Right? This willingness to see in with great truth and great awareness. What's there today? And give the shoulders a chance to release away from the ears. Maybe the arms get heavy. Maybe the palms get soft. And then just bring your focus into your breath. Try softening at the underbelly. Observing the breath as it puffs the pool of the underbelly on the inhale. And as it draws the navel in on the exhale, this light outward puff every time you breathe in, and this gentle touching of navel to spine every time you breathe out. Sit inside this breath long enough to come to realize, long enough to recognize, recognize that nothing is chasing you, and that the ground is steady even though it feels broken and out of whack. Attempting to breathe your way into brief moments of trust, brief moments of trust, gentle moments of acceptance. Let's crawl our awareness into our ribs and the side body. Sensing a gentle expansion of the rib cage every time you inhale, and a sweet contraction of them every time you exhale. Don't try too hard, just let it go. Sitting in observance of this breath, which is the grand creator, right? Nobody can deny that breath is expression of creativity, right? Your life force. And as we tap into it, maybe that lion that's been throwing us out of whack, right? Maybe it starts to dissipate a little bit. Maybe a couple of the marbles in our scale move over to the other side a little bit. Maybe we acquire moments of balance internally. Right? We don't have to jump out. We don't have to propel ourselves into the next project. Right? We can just be here in this vulnerable state, what it feels like to be a human, experiencing great crisis, upheaval, and imbalance. Let's move our awareness into our chest where our lungs live. And just slowly let the breath fill the pillow of the lungs on the inhale. And gradually empty the pillow of the lungs on the exhale. Or think of them as balloons. Fill the balloons of your lungs on the inhale. And empty the balloons of your lungs on the exhale. These precious moments of acquiring minor states of balance, gentle states of calibrating equilibrium in a very imbalanced world. Right? A world that is so difficult to trust right now. Let us come into the creative experience of the breath so it births moments of trust. Moments of ease. If you care to, we will experience our daily lung strengthening exercise, but also feel free to just stay in the gentleness of your breath as it is now. If you're going further, empty the breath from the underbelly. Slowly breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Retain. 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 Release the lock of the underbelly, letting the breath go, letting the breath flow. Feel free to move. Recalibrating, right? Some of those marbles might be moving around, even out your scale, even if it's for just a moment, right? Go deep into the breath with your awareness. Acquiring moments of balance in an imbalanced world. You know, we have to be willing to see that it's imbalanced. I mean, I know we all know it, but right, can we really be in it in such a way that we can plummet ourselves into the imbalance, right? Because otherwise we're just going to keep running, right? Keep running, keep up the race, right? Right? The lion is only chasing you if you see the lion, right? You have to see the lion and go deep into the awareness of your breath and your seat. Sit next to it. Sit next to the lion. Be one with it, right? Hands to the heart. Embracing the state of yoga, the state of union, the state of coming into relationship with your reality. Breathe in. Namaste. Namaste. Nice to see you all. Any questions that came through during that process, please feel free to reach me if I can clarify anything for you today. I'll be seeing you now every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I encourage you, I invite you. You are very welcome to join us in the physical practice. I've moved the Tuesday, Thursdays, the physical practice to noon, so that when we are not doing this now, you can feel free to join us there. It is, it's gentle movement. I really want to crack the mold on what our culture thinks yoga is. So it's very gentle movement. There's nothing you need to know. There's nothing you need to be good at. It's a centering experience that involves a little bit of physical activity. Anybody that's local, and I so appreciate seeing so many names that are not local. Jonathan, oh Jonathan, love you. Jonathan is a dear heart, along with his partner Cynthia, who I've known for many years. They've come to San Miguel Retreat many times. Where was I? Tonight, anybody that's local will be outside in the parking lot playing and praying. Playing and praying in our parking lot. It's a big parking lot, 6 feet distance, space for everybody practicing, and or flip over to Zoom. I love you all. Have the best day you can have today. Let's seal it up. Let's send it out. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy. May you live with an easy heart. Namaste.